Catherine Ferris here, owner of Marketecs. Today, I am going to give you a little tutorial on trigger links and custom values in GoHighLevel. Let's take a look. Right here we are in GoHighLevel, or better yet, our version of GoHighLevel, Marketecs Engine. And from the menu I am on, and I'm going to go over to trigger links. Now, if you've never used trigger links or you're not familiar with what trigger links are, they are basically a way to enter a URL once, reuse it across your emails, and if it updates, you only have to update it in one place because of a piece of code that the system creates. A good example would be a scheduling link. In here, the scheduling link uses this piece of code. Anytime I put this piece of code in one of my emails, it's going to send people to this scheduling link. And all I have to do is come in here to trigger links and edit this to a new link. And anywhere that I used that code, the new link will now take its place. Now, you'll notice some of these look a little bit different. Some of these have actual links and others have another piece of code. And this is because of custom values. So we're going to talk about those in just a moment. Before I do, I wanted to actually show you how to create a very simple trigger link here. All right, so to create a trigger link, we click Add Link, we give it a name, and we put in the URL that we want to use and click Save. It's as simple as that. Now you can click right here to copy that key or that code that can be used in your emails. Trigger links can also actually trigger workflow automations as well. So anyone that clicks on a specific trigger link could kick off a workflow automation. So now let's talk a little bit about these, because I gave you this example of a privacy policy done two different ways. One has the direct link and the other one has a custom value to a privacy policy. Why would I do this? The second version is actually a little more advanced. They both work. They both work very well. They have different trigger link keys or trigger link code for each version. The one that goes directly to the hyperlink is usable in emails. However, it's not usable on the websites or the funnel pages within GoHighLevel. And this is probably the number one reason to consider using custom values. However, custom values does take a few extra steps and might be a little bit more advanced than some users are ready for. But I'm going to show you to you anyway. If you want to get to custom values and basically do what I was able to do here, you're going to navigate to Settings at the bottom of your menu, and then you're going to go to Custom Values. This is where you build the custom values, and you'll see here that I put in my privacy policy. And this is where I put the URL instead of putting the URL in the trigger link directly. I put the URL behind a custom value. Then I used this custom value code. I copied this and put that in my trigger link. For example, promotion name. Let's edit this one. And you can always just create new as well, but I'm just going to pick this one to edit. You give it a value. This is where you would put the URL. If you had them in folders, you could choose the folder that you wanted here, which I recommend folders. I always recommend folders. I'm going to click Update. And now you can see that this custom value dot promotion name code is going to be replaced with test. I'm going to copy this. And if this was a URL, I could go create a trigger link out of it. In this case, I am not going to create a trigger link, but I can use it on a sample web page to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about here. So if you had, and this actually has location name already in it. And so we're going to do location name and we're going to add promotion name. We're going to click Save, and then we're going to go preview that page. And that promotion name says test. So that's how custom values work. They work on web pages. And in that sense, you can double up your use of custom values and trigger links by interchanging. All right, so coming back to trigger links, and again, you can see here, trigger links allow you to put links inside of SMS and emails. So these are specific to SMS and emails. So that's why by creating my privacy policy as either a custom field or a link, it'll work either way. The reason to have it as a custom value means that I can change it throughout not just my emails, but also throughout all of my web pages as well. So the other option within HighLevel that is very similar to trigger links and custom values is snippets. And I just want to talk about all of these for a minute because I know that they can all be used interchangeably sometimes and could be a little bit confusing. But the example we just showed where we did a product name, it wasn't a link. So you wouldn't necessarily use it under trigger links. You would use it under snippets. So this is where you put in actual text that can be reused within your emails or within your text messages. For example, how do I schedule an appointment? This is a really good one. So this is an auto response that you can choose to quickly reply to a text message. And it says to book an appointment, and it has, again, some of this code that's pulling from the system. So it's going to put in your website, and then it's going to put in the booking page URL, which is a custom value. And you can tell that it's a custom value based on these words right here. And once you've created your custom values, they actually get added to the system looking at these little tags like we have in emails before. You can scroll down and you can find your custom values, such as hours of operation, if you've put those in, and that can be put right into your message, drag and drop, and then you just click save when you're happy with it. I find trigger links to be the most useful piece within here, the idea of creating something once and being able to replace it across the system, even if it means you're incorporating custom values, if you want to take that next level where it truly does replace it on web pages as well as within emails and text messages. But if you're not ready to do that, at least start with trigger links. Start by putting those reusable links into the trigger links section and using these pieces of code within your emails and messages. To add a trigger link to an email or message, we're going to go over to our email section. Again, we're still in marketing and emails. We're going to go over to our templates, and we have a new template that we can work on here. It's just a sample. We're going to add some text. Now from here, there's a couple of ways that we can add a trigger link. You can highlight it, go to links, and you'll see this tag. And then you have your trigger links will come up right here. And I can put my privacy policy in very easily. And I'm just changing the text a little bit. The other thing we can do is there's an option here for trigger links, and you can actually put it in that way, and it will put in the direct URL. If you want to see what these look like, I highly recommend you send yourself a test email because the preview doesn't work real well with the trigger link situation or the code that's in there. You can also add trigger links behind buttons. So you have a button here and you've got the button text, the text is on the button itself. And here you can use different information from within the system, including custom values. So again, your program name or anything like that could be in here as a custom value, and you could put that right on your button. But the URL that this button goes to, and this is one that I use probably more often than the custom value names, is again, these trigger link options. And this is where we would put the link behind it so that we can change that if we need to. At a certain date, if your promotion switches to a different pricing or a different offer, all you have to do is come in and change the link behind the trigger link instead of having to change the links on all the old emails that went out. You don't risk somebody going to a past page. And then you save your email to make sure that those changes stay. Within trigger links, there's also an analyze option, which would allow you to track specific actions. This is a demo account, so I don't have any actions in here at the moment to show you, but that is an added feature also within the trigger links. I hope you will now use trigger links for all your landing pages, all your commonly utilized options. I use them for lead magnets, definitely for my scheduling link, sales pages, privacy policies, opt-out links. I use trigger links as often as possible. So I hope that was helpful. If it was a new feature of HighLevel that you haven't used before, I hope you will implement it. And if you're not already a HighLevel user, I hope you will go to the description and check out Marketecs Engine. And also feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Thanks.